A ruthless general has gathered the legendary gems and plans to use their power to unleash an unstoppable army. Only the greatest heroes of Red and Blue stand a chance of thwarting his forces and saving the world. Gunstar Heroes is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up, where you play as one of the titular Gunstar heroes, battling your way through a series of levels against an endless legion of bad guys. Like most shoot-'em-ups, your objective is incredibly simple. Move from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen and shoot anything that gets in your way. As you make your way through an area, enemies will appear at regular intervals and attempt to either run up and attack you or fire projectiles which you can try to dodge. Taking damage reduces your health, and once that's at 0, it's game over. But defeating enemies will occasionally reward you with health pickups and power-ups. Make it all the way to the end of a stage, and you can finally challenge the boss of that area to a head-to-head battle. Defeat all of the bosses in a stage, and you can move on to the next location. And if you beat all of the areas in the game, you will of course be crowned the greatest of Gunstar heroes. Now, by the cover alone, Gunstar Heroes looks pretty standard. And indeed, if you've ever played any other shoot-'em-ups, a lot of it will feel familiar. Mechanically, your characters can run, jump, slide, and fire their weapons in any of the 8 cardinal directions. Presentation-wise, the game is also exactly what you'd expect from a shoot-'em-up. Short cutscenes, almost no explanation. As soon as you select a stage, you're dropped immediately into the action. And the tone of the game is almost perfectly captured by the visuals. You've got these bright, colorful levels and environments with cartoonish but still interesting sprite design that allows you to easily distinguish enemies and characters from the background. And the detail of the effects is almost perfectly balanced, with explosions and lasers and dozens of enemies swarming on the screen, but not so much that it becomes totally unreadable. But here's the thing. If you saw Gunstar Heroes in passing, you might assume it was just another over-the-top shoot-'em-up. And that would be unfortunate, because the game has a surprising amount of creativity buried just under the surface. For starters, the game has a non-linear format. There are 4 main stages, and you can choose in what order you want to play through them. Which is helpful because the levels themselves have an incredible variety. They alternate between traditional run-and-gun sections, platforming, boss battles. There's even a level where you have to play a board game in order to proceed. Enemy design also has some nice variation. Sure, most of the time you'll be fighting nameless grunts, but when you get to bosses, things take a sharp turn. Every boss and mid-boss fight is different, with unique patterns and animations. One of the bosses in particular, called Seven Force, is a standout, one of the most memorable fights in any action game I've ever played. And to help out, the game also includes couch co-op, allowing you and an ally to tackle the levels together. But the most notable thing about Gunstar Heroes is its weapon system, which really differentiates it from its contemporaries. Essentially, at the start of the game, you have the opportunity to pick between 4 basic shot types: rapid fire, laser, flamethrower, and homing shot, each of which behaves more or less like you would expect based upon their name. Now, as mentioned before, as you play through levels, you will occasionally find weapon pickups. These will allow you to pick up an additional shot type and swap freely between the two of them. Now, if that was all, the game would already have given you an incredible level of flexibility, but where things get real interesting is that once you pick up a second gun, the game allows you to switch to a third option, which is a hybrid of the other two weapons you've already equipped. And these hybrids are all unique depending upon the combination of base weapons. So you can combine lasers and flamethrowers, you can combine rapid fire and homing shot and get completely different effects. You can even double up with twin lasers or twin flamethrowers, and the game will make a hybrid out of that as well. The result is a system with an unprecedented level of adaptability, with you, the player, being able to swap back and forth between these different shot types at will. And the result is just a magical concurrence of creativity, with the game throwing all kinds of bizarre bosses and crazy challenges at you, but with you, the player, being given the tools and the freedom to decide how best to overcome them. Now, it's not a perfect experience. There are some minor inconveniences. For instance, the game does have a learning curve, where some bosses and enemies can just destroy you if you don't know what their movesets are and how to fight them. Also, the game has a bit of randomness to it. Typically this is about what weapons and power-ups will drop as you play through a stage, but there's also one level, the board game that I mentioned earlier, where you have to roll dice in order to proceed. And depending upon your dice rolls, this can either be a daydream or a nightmare, and playing on co-op makes it even more chaotic. But in the end, Gunstar Heroes is still a bright star amongst its contemporaries. It's a classic run-and-gun shoot-'em-up that gave you an unparalleled level of choice when it came to choosing your weapons and arsenal. I would give it 4 out of 4 stars, and my recommendation. If you like classic 2D shoot-'em-ups, this is one that you should maybe give a look. Alright, well, thanks for listening. Till next time.